Even as a die-hard Jackie Chan fan since childhood, I know the last decade or so have been a bit of a mixed bag as far as his output goes. You had some genuine gems like The Foreigner and Little Big Soldier, some more okay-ish films like Panda Plan that weren't great but could be serviceable as family entertainment, and then some real groaners like A Legend with its flaunting of a badly realized de-aged Jackie front and center. One of those gems, however, was a film called Ride On. I know many Jackie fans were a bit mixed on this one, but I really enjoyed this more low-key and somewhat introspective Jackie Chan performance. It was a bit light on action, but had a solid story, and it really gave Jackie the chance to flex his acting muscles and, in a way, perform a meditation on his career up to this point. So when the director of Ride On, Larry Yang, announced that he would be joining forces with Jackie again on a dark police thriller, I was pretty excited. Added to the hype was that Jackie would be joined by fellow Hong Kong cinema legend Tony Leung Ka-fai, and I was assured that this was going to be something real special. Of course, I'm always gonna watch something with Jackie Chan in it, but seeing Big Tony joining the cast as the big bad definitely gave it a boost of credibility, as the man has an incredible catalog of classic and diverse performances under his belt, like Prison on Fire, Election, A Better Tomorrow 3, and Eagle Shooting Heroes. Not to be confused with the other famous Tony Leung Ka-fai, who starred in films like In the Mood for Love, Bullet in the Head, and Infernal Affairs. Both of them would share the screen in films like Eagle Shooting Heroes and Ashes of Time. Ka-fai and Chu Wai are often referred to as Big Tony and Little Tony respectively. It really felt like Jackie and Larry Yang were aiming for the fences to deliver something very special, and I think they hit the mark here. The Shadow's Edge sees Big Tony leading a gang of tech-savvy thieves who are smart enough to evade the surveillance tactics of the heavily funded police force. They are smart enough not only to evade detection on camera systems, but also are masters of disguise. The opening sees all of them working together to perform a high-level heist in Macau. In an effort to combat this gang, the police force recruits a former expert policeman, Jackie Chan, into the fold, who must work alongside the daughter of his deceased partner, played by Zhang Qifan. She holds a bit of a grudge against Jackie's character for the death of her father and desires to prove herself to her fellow police officers, not wanting to be stuck as a poster child of the department who's stuck behind a computer. Jackie assembles a task force of people who don't look like cops to catch Big Tony, who he suspects is a career criminal and former secret agent known as the Shadow. As cunning as the gang is, the seeds of infighting and deceit are growing within the ranks, with the young assailants torn between their loyalty to their adopted father Tony and their desire to grow beyond their need for him as he grows more controlling. The Shadow's Edge is somewhat a reimagining and remake of the 2007 film Eye in the Sky, which was directed by Yao Na-hoi and produced by Johnny To. That film also sees Tony Leung as a professional thief leading an organized team committing crime, with the surveillance professional and his young protege leading the task force to counteract them. In Eye in the Sky, Simon Yam and Kate Sui play the roles that would go on to be played by Chan and Zi Feng in The Shadow's Edge. The original film is less of an action-oriented adventure and more of a thriller, very stylistically similar in terms of its visuals to the films Na-hoi wrote under Johnny To. The story itself also differs in a lot of areas when you get past the basic premise. I just want to say it's so good to see Jackie back in fine form. I know we all love seeing the classic lovable goofy side to Jackie, but I think nowadays this more dramatic side is something that really works for him at this stage in his career. Movies like New Police Story, The Foreigner, Police Story 2013, yes I still defend that one, and now The Shadow's Edge prove that dramatic, weary but physically active Jackie is always a joy to see. Though you could argue that plot-wise this is treading similar ground to the role he did in New Police Story, Jackie does really good with the drama and shows that he hasn't lost a step. I'm not too familiar with Zhang Xifeng as an actress, but she holds her own well next to Jackie and Big Tony, delivering a charming performance that brings a lot of heart to the film. Probably my favorite scene with all three, aside from the ending, is where Jackie and Xifeng must pretend to be a father and daughter duo during a dinner gathering with a seemingly unsuspecting Tony. There's a good deal of edge of your seat suspense seeing the duo try to uphold their act in order to fool Tony. I must say though, as much as I love Jackie in this movie, Big Tony really steals the show here in what might be the villain performance of the year. The man manages to effortlessly balance between charming and downright chilling. I think the best stuff drama-wise here are his moments with the twin characters played by Sisha, who are arguably both the members of the team that are most close to Big Tony. Their relationship is a balance of love and mutual respect, yet always watching their back as each have their own fears and personal goals. Big Tony is the loving father figure who helped them out of being impoverished orphans, yet can also be controlling and dangerous. They also know the rules of the game they're playing, yet are hesitant to cross each other until one side does. Speaking of Sisha, he does a solid job playing the twin brothers Zi Wang and Zi Feng, the former being the favorite of Big Tony's character and the latter being more tech-centric, who does most of his work on the team from the computer. Among the crew of thieves is also Zach Wang, who some of you may recognize as the bully kid from the 2010 Karate Kid, which also starred Jackie Chan, and Wen Ju-hee, who is probably better known as June from the band 17. Fans of Hong Kong cinema will have a blast with some of the cameos here. Melvin Wong, Kenya Sawada, Yu Rongwang, all of them make some brief but memorable appearances. You may remember them from their more action-centric roles like in Righting Wrongs, Thunderbolt, and various police story entries, and the 2010 Karate Kid. And although her scene is very brief, I got super excited seeing everyone's favorite landlady, Yuan Cho. I wish we could have seen more of her, but it was still fun seeing such a legend pop up, no matter how brief. As a quick aside, if you did want to see her in a role where she has much more screen time, I do recommend the 2024 film Second Life, where she co-stars along Philip Ning, who some of you might remember from Twilight of the Warriors Walden. I haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about it, but it's really quite good. Action-wise, there's a lot of fun stuff here. There's some overuse of CGI in the beginning, but for the most part, it's really all hand-to-hand, chases, and good old-fashioned stunts and choreography. A lot of the action is mostly tension-based, like the police trying to track the gang as they evade camera detection in a cat-and-mouse scenario, but I'd argue all these scenes are very well staged and never lose steam. I really commend Zhang Jifeng for getting in on the fighting. I especially appreciate how the movie played into how her character was smaller and used her speed and stature as her ways to overcome her opponents. Though there are a few times in fights where they forget that a bit and it really didn't seem to fit on the level of plausibility they were going for. Granted, this is also a movie where we see two 70-year-olds duke it out in a very bloody fashion and still walk away, so I'm not really going to let that affect me that much. I also gotta give props to Jackie and Big Tony for moving like they do so well into their 70s. Before seeing this, a clip went semi-viral which showed a behind-the-scenes sequence of a 71-year-old Jackie Chan filming a fight scene with one of the 20-something-year-old actors, and honestly, it got me tearing up a bit. Jackie Chan is my favorite cinematic hero, and it really hit me that we don't have many more movies with him doing this kind of stuff especially. This man is as old as my grandpa, maybe a bit older, and he's still putting himself out there filming some real kicks and fights with actors who are basically my age. I just gotta hand it to the man for still putting in the work and doing what he loves, and honestly, he still has the moves. Maybe the fights aren't as clean or as intricate as they were during his prime years of the 1970s to the early 2000s, but Jackie's still got it, and you still feel his effort alongside his stunt team. If I could name a few flaws, I do think the opening, while very well staged, has the occasional wonky editing and some odd CGI. For as cunning as Big Tony is here, there is one sequence where it seems like he slips up more than you'd expect someone of his experience to do, and makes it just a bit too easy for the good guys. But honestly, that really didn't hurt it too much for me. Overall, I really enjoyed The Shadow's Edge. The action and set pieces are solid and thrilling, the story was very engaging and contained a lot of intriguing concepts that I felt were pretty well executed. And the actors did a really good job bringing these characters to life and made them enjoyable to see on screen. In terms of Jackie's performance, he wasn't exactly breaking new ground as far as stuff you've seen him do before, if you know his history that is. He's still doing good work here though, and this is definitely his best film in years. I'd actually say this is good enough to be in conversation with some of his better films from the 90s and 2000s. Big Tony is perhaps the big standout here. He really delivers an all-time great villain here, and I'll repeat myself when I say his performance of Fu Longsheng is definitely one of the year's best. If I had to compare it to the original film, while I really enjoy its visual style and Ya Naohui's direction, I find myself preferring Larry Yang's more intense, action-oriented take. Granted, maybe I'm a bit biased down to my love of Jackie, but I think it's down to your preference on the genre. One is more low-key and more of a subtle thriller with less bouts of action and a team whose methods feel more procedural, while the other is more intense in its frequent action and has more drama between the characters. Both are solid films that I would recommend to anyone, but for me at least, I gotta give the nod to the 2025 film. At the end, there is also some sequel setup, including a post-credit scene which I won't spoil here, and I actually hope we get to see that because if it's on the same level as this film, I think Larry Yang could deliver another banger. So now I gotta ask, if you have seen The Shadow's Edge, what did you think of it? I gotta say, it was great to see Jackie on the big screen again and prove that he still got it. And now I eagerly anticipate the next big move in Jackie's career, whether it's on the big screen or on stage or what? Also, as an aside, now that we had Jackie Chan make a solid return to form in 2025, and last year we had Sammo Hung make a big comeback in Twilight of the Warriors Walled In, can we get something for Yun Biao in 2026?